Imagine for a moment that you get some news that your father chop up a man down the road and kill him, or your brother and his friends robbed a grocery store, or some family member of yours murdered somebody. That feeling of disbelief and perhaps incredulity and whatever emotions you imagine may be coursing through you, this is that kind of video. It's going to be hard for you to accept. It's going to be difficult for some people to understand. But I am not an harbinger. I did not receive some message from God or whatever deity you subscribe to. I don't have some inside knowledge about the goings on of the world or the machinations of the rich and powerful. I do not. This is simply something similar to when your boss sent out an email and everyone read the email except you. So now we're having this meeting and everyone is up to speed and everybody is responding and answering questions, and you are lost as a deer caught in the headlights because you've not been paying attention. And I know that you have not been paying attention. That is why the world is in the state that is in now. This is particularly relevant for religious peoples. If you're religious, and I know that most people consider themselves to be religious, whether they are practicing a particular faith or it's just something that they build their belief systems on. This is specifically for you. There is no second coming of anything. Nobody's coming back to save you. There is no fulfilling of prophecy that is going to happen. What we're going to be experiencing in the coming years is going to be the equivalent of what is expressed in Revelations, that chapter of the Bible. It is a preconditioned outcome that was orchestrated many years ago, unbeknownst to us. And the reason why it was done is so that when they're doing what they're doing, we will sit down and not do anything about it, because we will say, oh, it's signs of the time. Jesus is coming back to save us, or whatever God you serve is coming back to save you, because you see the manifestations of what is written in your holy scriptures. They will, and they are now confirming unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. They're now saying that we have these alien aircrafts. There have been, if you think I'm making this up, you can Google it, congressional hearings about unidentified aerial phenomena, right, in the United States of America. People are now coming out. We're not talking about conspiracy theories, tinfoil hat wearing lunatics on the internet. We're talking about people in the government sitting before government committee, broadcast on C-SPAN, basically saying aliens are real. I just saw a clip on Newsmax where this lady was talking about interdimensional beings. The question becomes, if aliens are real, if there are unidentified aerial phenomena that have been on Earth, we hear about alien abductions and all of that stuff, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do with that information? So I chalk it up to be just, fictitious, a figment of the imagination, people making up stories. Because how are you going to prove that these events do happen? Of course, everybody know about Area 51, the Roswell incident, and they make a whole X-Files series off of it. I mean, most of us may have watched X-Files back in the day, I think it was in 1993, thereabouts, right? But for the most part, most humans do not believe that there are other life forms in existence outside of planet Earth. Okay, we have 7 planets in our solar system. We're a dwarf galaxy, and we think that Earth is the only populated planet with actual living things on it. We don't believe that there are different dimensions where there are different beings living in those dimensions and they either interact or, I don't know, we don't believe that shit. But now that information is being subtly put out in the public space, and they're having these hearings and these committees where you have these big people in government saying, "Oh, I'm from this department that you've never heard about," talking about, people did have this Project Stargate and people going into the future and seeing stuff and coming back and remote viewing and a bunch of bullshit. Now, I can't tell you whether any of these things are true or whether or not any of these things are real, but I can tell you why no. Why is it now that we're talking about aliens and basically saying aliens are real? Why is it now that people are having these sightings? You're seeing stuff that clearly isn't human and clearly isn't corporeal in the sense of you can touch it, because there are videos of that on the fucking news, right? I think last year there was, I don't remember, I think it was, oh my god, I forgot what state. There was this thing running around, and they called the police and you could see, this was like a silhouette, like when you watch Alien versus Predator and the alien goes kind of like invisible, you can see the outline, something like that, right? And the question of it is like, okay, but we have been on this planet for God knows how long, right? At least if we, according to them, post flood, it's 2026 years, right? And Bigfoot and the Loch Ness monsters and Leviathan and dragons and what have you are mythical creatures. We don't believe that those things are actually real, right? So why no? Why are we talking about interdimensional beings and alien spacecraft and all of this? Why are they talking about that now? Because they are planning the rapture. Yes, because most people are religious and most people believe that Jesus is coming back to save them. So what are they going to do? They are going to play out the events of Revelations. And like I said, I'm not an harbinger. This is what they're saying. They're telling you that. They're going to play out the events of the rapture. Jesus is going to come down out of the heavens. You will see Jesus come down out of the heavens. And he will speak to you. But it's not going to be no Jesus. It's going to be a hologram. This is why they have this dragnet of AI surveillance. This is why they are experimenting with like microwave weapons and stuff where they can project thoughts into your mind. It sounds crazy, but Google is your best friend in this day and age. If something sounds silly, you can just look it up and see. Let me see if any official sources have spoken about this, if there are any patents on these types of technology, if the US government specifically has any program relating to this kind of stuff. So you don't need to listen to some crazy dude on the internet talking some bullshit. You can just do some research to see if any official sources, and by official sources I mean like government and these, big name universities like Harvard, MIT and such, if they have any kind of programs like that in the works, right? They are planning the second coming because we're on a timeline for 2030. I don't think they're going to be able to make the 2030 deadline to kill as many people as they want and bring forth this rapture and have us basically worship Satan, which is kind of strange, but it's not about Satan, it's about transhumanism and creating human 2.0. But that's a whole rabbit hole that we can go down. But for the religious people, they're going to use your faith against you. There is no second coming. No Jesus is coming back to save you, but they're going to create an event that appears as such.